Hello everyone, welcome to This Day for this Tuesday, January 4th. I'm Paul Ortiz, filling in for vacationing Lisa Hart, and I thank you for joining us today. For our football fans out there, I had a little bit of an Antonio Brown moment yesterday during the weather, so I thank you for joining us today on the program. We have a great program to share with you, but first let's talk about some of the meetings that we'll be having this morning. That's going to be at 9:30 this morning. If you're watching our morning program, the GRF board will be meeting. This is their first meeting of 2022. And that'll be at 9:30 this morning, and we'll also replay it this evening as well. And they're going to have the 1:30 Finance Committee. This is a very important committee. Obviously, it determines, how much money is spent in your community, and they're going to be meeting at 1:30 as well. Both these meetings you can attend in the boardroom here in your community center, or you can join them live on Granicus, and you can go to lagunawoodsvillage.com/meetings. Well, we have a terrific program for you today. Jeff Parker is going to be with us virtually, in a way, on tape. He's going to be with Lisa Hart, and they're going to be talking about the new trash regulations that are going on in our city of Laguna Woods, and they'll have that discussion. Also, the Aquadettes, one of our popular performance female groups here in our community, they had a chance to be on that CBS show. It's called Be Positive. And the Aquadettes, they've been around for, I want to say, about 50 years. Terrific group over there. Charlie Redner actually helps support that group as well. And of course, they have all the wonderful ladies out there that do synchronized swimming. And they got a cameo on that show. So we'll be talking, Lisa will be talking to them about that experience as well. So let's take a look outside the weather. It looks like it's going to be pretty nice the next couple of days. Weather is going to be easily in the 60s and then in the low 40s overnight. Still have a lot of snow in the mountains there. Our temperatures today will be about 60 degrees, 41 overnight. 66 tomorrow, 44 overnight, and then 67 on Thursday. It's probably going to be our most beautiful day that Thursday. 67 degrees, 48 overnight, and it's going to cool off just a little bit. But as you can see, we're going to have plenty of sunshine throughout the week. It's going to be a beautiful week out there. For those of you that love watching that Rose Parade, we had it on the other day, and it's always the most beautiful day of the year during that Rose Parade. And then you got all these people buried in snow, and they come out to California and enjoy our weather. Well, look at this wonderful picture. This is our sunrise sunset. This was taken by Mark Weiss. And knowing Mark is probably somewhere over in Newport Beach somewhere. What a beautiful picture, Mark. Our sunrise this morning was at 6:56 a.m. Sunset is going to be at 4:56 p.m. And if you have a high-res photo, be sure and send it to us at lagunawoodsvillagetv@gmail.com. I'm sure some of you traveled over the holidays, have some wonderful pictures that you might want to share with our community. Be sure and email us at lagunawoodsvillagetv@gmail.com. Well, stay tuned. We're going to be right back with Lisa Hart, and she's going to be talking trash with Jeff Parker.
Welcome back. As I mentioned, we have Jeff Parker here. Welcome. How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Very good. Moving on to what is going to be happening here in 2022. Now, the current trash company is Waste Management. And tell us how this kind of came about, why we're moving to a new company.
So it all started with the passage of Senate Bill 1383. And 1383 is a requirement under California state law that all residential participants now must source separate recyclables that are regarding organics. Okay. We'll get into that in a minute, what organics means and all of that. But with that piece of legislation going, the mandate was that they start this program on January 1st, 2022. Well, the city of Laguna Woods at that point in time was in a contract with Waste Management. They only had a year left on their contract. And so this is new trucks, new carts, a very expensive operation to put into place. And so Waste Management, because of their contract, the way it was set up, they had the ability to not get an extension on their contract, which would have been required. So without that extension, the city had to go out to bid again for a new waste hauler. Oh. And so it gave the city very little time to do that, unfortunately, and knowing that this crunch was coming with regards to the state requirement. But they went back out to bid. They had 2 bidders. Waste Management actually bid again because they knew that they were going to have increased costs, so they wanted to roll that into their new bid. And certainly the other company was CR&R, which is a local hauler in Orange County as well. So had those competing interests. The city went through that bid process, reviewed all of the bids, trying to get the lowest price, obviously, for the residents here, not only in Laguna Woods, but outside of our gates in the city, because it's city responsibility. And they issued a contract with CR&R in the fall. And so CR&R has been working to get this program ready for implementation come January, because that's what the state law requires.
Right.
So as part of that, the city has been in contact with us and our group, and we've had members of the various boards included in that communication, because it's a very convoluted, it's a very big process, and it's going to take time for it to get put out there, number one, in these new carts that we're talking about, and we'll talk about that in a second, as well as changes in times of your trash being picked up. That's changing. Down the road, come February and March, we're going to have different bulky item pickup. So it is a total new structure for trash collection in the village, as well as the whole community of Laguna Woods. And it's happening everywhere. This is not just Laguna Woods. I want to make sure everybody understands we're not the only ones, and it's not like we're getting picked on. The reality is every city is obligated to start this operation, which is part of the confusion with regards to how fast this is going to get implemented. Is CR&R has multiple cities, so they're having to get new bins and everything. So it's going to take time to get that implemented, but all of it starts come January.
Now, you mentioned that other cities are having this happen, and I've talked to people who have had it happen. And it is a process, but it's not an unmanageable process, right? I mean, at first, you'll think, oh my gosh, I have to get new trash cans. Well, they provide you with what you need, and then the other truck takes them away. So it is kind of a weird transition, but nonetheless, it's easy where they're gonna have one truck take your old ones and the other truck bring the new ones. And then the information that they give you is quite nice. They give you lots of material where you have exactly what goes in what bin, what goes in the other bin, and then there are a few changes that you may not be used to.
Yeah, you summed it up really well. There's a good picture of the CRR truck. So what you have out there is these 3-yard bins, the large bins that they pick up in all, like in United especially, and in Third too, obviously, throughout the community. And these bins are picking up recyclables and regular trash.
Like here we've got it there. So I mean, they're similar to what you have,
and so
but they're really color-coded.
And those are the cans. Those are, you know. So when you have that, all of those are going to get swapped out. So they have Waste Management on there right now, and the new ones will have CR&R on there.
Yeah.
So we're getting new cans, and that process is going to take place the first couple weeks of in January, where they're going to be replacing all of these cans and all of these big bins that are in our placement. So don't expect, if you walk out there and you say, wait, there's still a Waste Management. Yeah, there may be. It may take 2 or 3 weeks to get all of those in transition, but they're going to work very diligently. And one of the things they're doing today is we were going to get a letter out to everybody kind of walking people through this and what's coming out. But because of the Postal Service during the holidays and because of the weather, they're actually going door to door with information today.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh.
so that's something new
nice.
that came out. And so we're hoping that they're going to take that letter that they were going to normally mail out to the residents, and they're actually going to go door to door through our community and passing that letter out.
Okay.
Because they were so fearful that it'd get caught into the holiday letters and not get there until January, and all of a sudden there's a cart in your, what's going on? So we have a couple of flyers that we wanted to mention. The first one here is a good update from the city with regards to the residential organics recycling. And this is really what is at the heart of 1383. So in the past, if you had food waste, after you're finished eating dinner or something like that, you have some scraps or something like that, you just throw that in the trash.
Right.
Now that piece of garbage, I'll call it, in the sense of that organics, has to go into a separate bin now, and needs to. And the reason for that is under 1383, what they're really trying to do is they're trying to cut down all of this food waste that's been going into landfills that causes methane gas.
Okay.
And it's the methane gas that's coming out of the landfills that, as far as the state of California was concerned, they wanted to, by 2025, reduce by 75%, getting that down, because that methane gas is what they believe is causing a big part of the global warming and the impacts to our pollution. So it's a big picture, starting with that, now getting it down into the micro elements of how do we do that. And
Right.
as you can see there, in the second flyer that you'll be getting, all the residents will be getting this. It shows you what you can put in this new organics recycling bin. And there's a lot of things there.
Yeah.
And it really is all about increasing the amount of food waste that's going to be picked up separately. This will be picked up by a different truck. And they're going to be taking that up to CR's facility and taking all of this and separating it, and then taking it to a what we call a digester out in Temecula area, and basically converting that into a mulch or converting that into energy so that it doesn't go into the landfills.
Right.
And so it's a big effort that's going to take multiple years to get to the point that they want to. The very short period of time, though, 2022 to 2025, is not very long. And this is just probably the third biggest step that they've taken under the original plans that started in 1990 with regards to reducing the amount that went into landfills by just normal trash, and now we're trying to reduce it again substantially by getting the organics out of it.
Yeah, now for some people who may already compost, right? I mean, that's a big thing for a lot of people who are into sustainability and things like that. So that's nothing new. I do think, and I'm not positive with this particular area, but in other areas like Mission Viejo, they provide you a separate container that you can keep kind of underneath where your trash is. So when you have that food waste, you can just pop that in there, and then you can transfer the food from that to your can. So I think that is something that they may have for Laguna Woods as well, but it may be upon request.
It is,
right?
And there is an
Okay.
expense.
There is,
Yeah,
okay.
there's a charge for it. They do have a little container. You can use, a coffee can. Put your
that's
food
true.
waste in the coffee can, and then you can dump it from there
Yeah.
into
Right.
it. Or you can use if you had an organic plastic bag. That's biodegradable. Now it's got to be specific biodegradable plastic bags. You can use that, and paper.
And you can put that in that trash can?
Yeah, because the paper can't,
Oh.
because it's part of that food waste. So
Oh.
you can do both of those.
Okay.
That won't contaminate, because the need is to get the food waste in there.
Okay.
Now, what they really would like you to do at the best, perfect scenario, again, like using that pail that you're talking about, or using a coffee can, and then just dropping it in and you're reusing that coffee
And
can.
reuse that can,
Yeah.
okay. When I look at this little recycling page, it says, like you said, bag waste in compostable or paper bags or wrap in newspaper.
Right.
So the paper bags are like the ones you might get at the store, the grocery store, those ask for paper. Well, that's good, because then we can get rid of the plastic
Yeah. Yes.
that they try and have all the time. So just ask
Exactly.
for paper.
Yeah, ask for paper, and you can use that as
Perfect.
to haul it down to the
Okay, well,
can.
that's not so bad then.
Right.
That's
So-
easy. And then you can just put that in the trash can
Yep,
with
in,
the paper.
In the organic
Oh, so
can.
then you never, because I can imagine that if you didn't use anything, that might be kind of a stinky can.
And well, actually, we were talking to people about that. If you had a coffee can, just have a lid on it. You can put a certain amount in there and just put a lid on it. It won't be bad, and based on what we've heard.
Oh,
and
underneath,
same way with the what they're going to offer.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It has a container, has a top on it, so it
Okay.
doesn't smell up if you have food waste for a couple of days or
Okay,
something like that.
well, that's good. Or you can just walk to your garage and maybe pop it in something just outside the door. Okay?
And so, and like I said, it's a big operation. We'll be seeing that get kicked off in January. The transition time, they have multiple. They got to get the bins out and So that's what one of them looks like.
Right.
That's it. And then in United, I'll start with them. These bins will be included where we have our big 3-yard bins for trash and recycling.
Oh, really?
So these bins will be located in those same locations.
Oh.
Same thing with Third, in the areas where we found specifically room that we can put these things, we'll be implementing. What won't happen at the very beginning of the implementation will be in the single-family homes where they have cans.
Yeah.
That won't be necessary at this point in time, because what we have an obligation in the sense of the community, we've got to work together here, is if we can reduce the amount of organics that's going into our normal garbage. We have a requirement that we have to meet a certain percentage.
I see.
So what they actually will do come March, they're going to do it twice a year, they'll actually pull out a bin or two and they'll weigh it. They'll actually weigh it. And food waste is wet, typically. So it has a weight content to it versus regular trash. So they'll know, based using the statistics that they have, how much food waste is in there. And at the end of the March count, which will come in April or May, we'll get the results. We'll know whether or not we've met our need to get at least 25%, 20 to 25% of our organics into that first process. That's
Right.
what we need to accomplish, and ultimately getting up to 2025 where we get that higher number.
Yeah.
The impact is if we see that we're not reaching our number, then there will be additional responsibilities put on Laguna Woods and the community as to either more carts or more information out there. But really what we need is to get people to be real aggressive like you have been.
Right.
One of the things I wanted to say is we've done a really good job with our recyclables. So it's the same game in a sense. We need to be on point with this and make every effort to get our organics into these new bins.
Okay.
And it will help us meet our requirements for the city.
One last question regarding the bins now. I know people might be concerned about, 6 bins out there, right? And I don't know if it's an HOA thing where you can't leave bins out or things like that. They won't be dinged for that particular time frame.
If it's as my notes go scattered. Well, for right now in the homes where they had their own cans, they're not even going to get a new organics can at this point in time. We're focusing on the multi-story, multi-unit complexes where we have larger bins for recycling, and then we're going to put this organic bin there.
Okay.
So we're really focusing on those units first, and then we'll continue to expand this if we're not meeting our obligations under the state law.
A process, be patient. There is going to be a transitional period, and we'll get as much information out as possible.
I want to make sure that people have the phone number. We are going to have, if residents have calls, we want to make sure that they're calling the city. They are going to have a operation set up with a individual there that's going to be working there, but they also have a call center. We want you to call that number. Don't call resident services. I want to make real important that it's all handling by CR&R. They'll answer the questions. The other thing, going on that website that's up there, they're going to have an interactive website, so you can go on there and you can actually find where this organics can is near your. So
good.
in United, we have bins everywhere. So you can go to the location where this organics bin's going to be. You can find that.
Okay.
Same way when we get to the bulky item pickup that'll start in February, and that process, there'll be a place you can go on and you can find out what zone you're in, where your house is and which zone, and that'll provide you the information that that way you don't have to make a phone call, hopefully. But again, use that number, 625-6735, if you have any questions once this starts to roll out, and you'll see it coming to your neighborhood come January.
Exactly. All right. Well, thank you so much for the information. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you too.
And remember, please do not call resident services. Do call the number that's on your screen. And for the interactive information, go to the website that is listed right in front of you there. And we'll be right back with more information. Welcome back. Well, today I am joined by Margaret Marflit and Judy Rizzo of the Aquadettes of Laguna Woods. Well, ladies, thank you for joining me today.
Nice to be here.
It's been a while since we've had you on, and I know you guys have performed here for a very long time, but you have something very exciting to let us know about. You've made a TV debut, if you will. Who would like to tell us about that?
I think we were contacted by CBS to take part in a program, a sitcom called Be Positive, and we were kind of concerned. We didn't know what it meant. Anyway, we went for 2 separate days. We went up to Warner Brothers in Burbank, and we had a great experience. It was just fascinating to watch how they worked. We watched them doing the routines and all that, and then we took part in the water in a pool that he had set up a big surround. They had closed it in, and it had the green coloring on the background. Very
like we do. I mean, we have a green screen too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great. What exactly is it they wanted you to do in this piece?
That's the point. We didn't really know. We went there one day, it was in September, and we practiced what they hoped we would do. We practiced it with a choreographer, not in the water. And we watched all the dancers practice, which was a lot of fun. And we watched Annalie Ashford, who is so talented, sing and dance between all of us. And then we took it to the water on day 2. And so we still weren't sure what they wanted us to do. I think we over practiced, didn't we, Margaret? Because we weren't sure if they wanted us to do a number or a stunt or what. So we got kind of narrowed down, as you'll see in the introduction. But it was fun. It was a lot of fun doing it, meeting everybody and seeing how it works.
She was running backwards at the edge of the pool, and we had to fall in one after the other, which was fun. And then she bumped the last one and pushed them in.
She didn't understand how we could float so long, so we did teach her to scull a little, but she didn't really do that. But being in the water, we were in the water, Margaret, wasn't it, for 2.5 hours? And it was tiring. We were floating and kicking, and finally we decided we could hang on to the side of the pool and rest if we wanted.
Yeah. How many takes did it take?
Oh,
Do you remember?
no. Quite a few.
A lot.
I bet. Well, just to get that,
A
that
lot.
perfect shot sometimes can take a while, and you have to keep doing it over and over and over
Right.
again. So I get it. Well, I'm really happy that you guys participated. Now, Be Positive, you said, is a series, and it is on CBS, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you're in the opening credits.
Yes.
And it doesn't happen immediately. They have a little bit of a run of the beginning of the story, and then it starts with Annalise singing. And so you have to blink twice to see us. But we're in kind of the beginning, floating around, and then toward the end. It was we expected that we wouldn't have a big part, but
Who are some of the other actors in it?
Linda Lavin. Trying to remember the others.
Ben Vereen.
Oh, Ben Vereen. Okay. Jane Seymour, I think you said.
Yeah, she plays somebody who's, I think, in her mid to late 80s, and she's trying to be 20. She's very glamorous.
Oh,
and puts the moves on all the old men. And
oh my.
it's a good storyline.
That's
It's a
funny.
good
That sounds like our
storyline.
Tales of the Woods. Our little soap opera that we have. Now you guys have, you've been doing the show, the Aquadet show, for a while, and I know you've had different themes and changes, and you guys done a lot of work. When do you anticipate your next show?
We're hoping for September this next year.
Okay.
We're already working on routines, and so we're hoping that, all being well as far as this variant concerned, we hope we'll be able to get it done. Yes.
Yeah. Now do you guys have all of the same folks with the Aquadettes, or have you brought on some new ones?
We have some new members, and we've lost some, of course. So it varies. We've had quite a turnover one way and another. So we're hopeful that the ones that are coming in to learn are really keen, and very good at it if they can just get the idea of the different ways we do it. It's not quite just like straight swimming. you know.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right now,
And we're-
are you looking for people now or not right now?
Always. We're always recruiting. Oh, okay. It's not too late to join. We can teach you how to be in our show. We're making the show a little different this year. We've got a theme going, and we're not going to, we're trying to do some cost cutting, in other words, because, as everyone knows, everything's more expensive. And so we're going to try a new announcer, and we're trying some measures that won't cost so much, because this is not a moneymaker for us. So
Right.
we're going to be trying some fundraising, and we hope that helps us have the show be as nice as it has been in the past.
Oh, well, I love that. Well, I'm happy that you guys got to experience Hollywood and, all the behind the scenes that go on there. And we will look for the opener on the show Be Positive. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for joining me today. And we'll be right back after this.
Well, there are quite a few new trash regulations, so be sure and go to the city website. And if you have any questions, be sure and call CRNR, and their customer service people will help you. Well, let's talk about this car show that's going to be going on. This is Laguna Woods Car Club. They're going to have their New Year's meeting, and that's going to be on Wednesday, January 12th. It's not a show, it's actually their meeting, and that's going to be in Clubhouse 1, Room 2, and that's Paul Kratzner. And you can give him a call there at 323-528-1442. The Laguna Woods Car Club, if you've ever been to some of their shows and some of their parking lot events, you'll see that there's some wonderful vehicles in our community and some old classics that you just reminisce about at times. So be sure and join them and be a part of that meeting when it comes up here on January 12th. Well, let's take a look outside. Another beautiful day in Southern California. Some of the roads are actually opening up a little bit out there, so it's nice to see. The sunshine is going to be out for the rest of the week. Our temperatures will be in the mid-60s as we approach the weekend, and those overnight temperatures will warm up just a little bit, but as you know, it's been pretty chilly for the last few nights. Temperatures well into the high 40s and sometimes even into the low 40s and high 30s overnight in some places. But beautiful temperatures for the next couple of weeks. A great time to get out there, play some golf, play some tennis, even pickleball, very popular sport here in our community. And it's going to be a beautiful day out there. And of course, our sunset this afternoon is going to be at 4:56 p.m. And if you have a wonderful picture you'd like to share with us, be sure and email us at lagunawoodsvillagetv@gmail.com. Well, that'll do it for our program for today. Be sure and join us tomorrow where Lisa Hart will sit down with our Orange County Sheriff, Don Barnes. Enjoy the rest of your day right here in Laguna Woods Village.